Greetings, YouTube. Seemed only appropriate to be wearing my Robo Bobby shirt if I'm going to be talking about criminality. So, what is a criminal? I mean, the most generally understood definition of that in colloquial terms is that someone that breaks a law. But what kind of a law? So whenever somebody says that someone has a criminal record or a criminal past, those are the kinds of questions I asked. What kind of laws did they break? Did they break laws that should exist? Rape, murder, child abuse, child molestation, corporate crime, wage theft, polluting the environment, things like that. Or did they maybe break laws that shouldn't necessarily be considered as serious, like drug use, which shouldn't be a criminal situation at all? Is the person without a home? That shouldn't be illegal either. Why is that illegal? Why is it considered breaking the law if you don't have a home? If you're on the street, why is that considered a crime? If the state isn't going to make sure that every single citizen has a place to live, then why make that a crime? Why give someone a criminal record who obviously already has enough hurdles in their path at the minute? They don't need more hurdles. So whenever somebody says that an individual has a criminal record, I want to know what kind of crimes. And you will frequently, in the blogosphere, encounter folks that will point out repeatedly, for example, that black people have higher levels of criminality than white people do. And as I've pointed out as ad nauseum, that actually isn't true. The levels of criminality between black people and white people are the same. So if 10% of white people are guilty of committing some kind of act of criminal act, 10% of black people are. And yet, we arrest black people at much higher rates. We stop them, we arrest them, we charge them more frequently, they are more often found guilty, and they are given longer prison sentences. Often for things that shouldn't be criminal offenses. For example, selling loose cigarettes on the street. Why is that a criminal offense? Why isn't it a civil offense? Sure, you fine the person. Okay, I can get behind that. You want to have a system that makes sense of taxation and things like that? Yeah. The honest folks should be paying taxes, and everybody else should be as well. Okay, criminal offense. I mean, civilian offense, no problem. But criminal? No. Is it worthy of executing someone on the street? No, it isn't. And drug use. How many people are in jail right now in America? Who has the highest percentage of people in jail anywhere in the world? How many people are in jail right now? Black and white. Brown, yellow, doesn't matter. For drug use. Why? And now let's look at the number of people, say, who are white and have been using marijuana their entire lives and are black and using their marijuana their entire lives. Who do you think is more likely to get arrested and sent to prison for marijuana use? And look at the cocaine issues that we've had in America. Cocaine is a nasty drug. It can hook people. But powdered cocaine, which was most often used by white people, and crack cocaine, which was most often used by black people, had different sentencing structures. Why? Well, the answer, of course, is racism. Chemically, they're the same drug. But how they were being consumed was different, and we had stigmatized crack cocaine over powdered cocaine. And white people have been getting away with buying cocaine and marijuana, what have you, completely under the radar for a very long time. Whereas black people hassled all the time and be arrested for incredibly small quantities of a chemical on their body, which again shouldn't be criminal. If you want them to get into some kind of substance abuse program, if you can prove that they are actually an addict, it is possible to use any number of drugs out there without being an addict. Be very clear on that. Lots of people can use a drug and never become addicted. And some people use a drug once and they get addicted. It all depends on the person. So if you want to get somebody off a drug, then treat it like a medical problem, which is what it is. Don't treat it like a criminal problem. Because not only now are you throwing them into the criminal system, but now you have impacted their lives forever. And if you think they had problems before that maybe they were taking the drugs to cope with, you think they're going to have fewer problems once they get out of prison? Now that they have a criminal record? How have you helped them? You haven't. And that should be the goal, helping people. The goal should be helping people to make better decisions and be healthier, productive citizens, as in the sense that they are engaged in our society, not the capitalist definition of productive. But we don't do that in America. We're all about the vengeance. We're all about the retribution, as opposed to restoring people's lives. And that's what we should be engaged in, restorative justice, not retribution. So decriminalize all drugs. Treat it as a medical issue if they actually are addicts. If they aren't addicts, then if you think that they need to pay some kind of civil fine for that until the drugs are completely decriminalized, then fine. Otherwise, just let people do the damn drugs. And if they do something while under the influence of drug, bingo, they've crossed the line. They're now engaged in criminal activity. And that's when you call the guys with the guns, and you arrest them, and you throw them into the legal system. But if somebody's sitting on their porch or hanging out in a park and they're high, why do you care? What effect does it have on you? And if their drug use has led them to end up being without a house, house them. It's that simple. This is the most powerful nation on the planet, with more empty units than we have people. In the midst of a pandemic, which is going to drive even more people into the streets, even though who's going to move into those homes, those apartments? Nobody. So why isn't the government picking up the tab? Why aren't our tax dollars making sure that our fellow citizens aren't being forced into the streets and to become criminals because they're now without a house? So ask yourself, when somebody brings up criminality, who is a criminal? Ask, why are they being called that? What types of laws did they break? Did they break laws that should exist? Rape, murder, torture, polluting the environment? Or did they break laws that are stupid? Being without a house, drug use. It's not black and white. It isn't either or. And no law has existed that we didn't write. And we can unwrite them. We can modify them. We can have a just system based on restorative justice and not on retribution. On making people's lives better, not making them worse. So why don't we do that? Why don't we believe in justice rather than an unequal system that punishes some and lets others go? We can do better, and we should. So, where you're concerned, who's a criminal?